ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वती देव्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम साईराम। अनंतकोटि ब्रह्मांड नायक महाराजातिराज योगिराज परब्रह्म सच्चिदानंद भक्त प्रतिपालक समर्थ सद्गुरु शेगौन निवासी श्री गजानन महाराज की जय। श्री गजानन महाराज विजय ग्रंथ चैप्टर 18। Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Jai to the divinity which showers joyous tidings. Govind, Srinivas, embodiment of all blessings, hope of the downtrodden. Save me, O Keshav, Kesari Mardan, Madhav, Madhusudan, O killer of Putna, Pandurang, consort of Rukmini. I need not say what I want from thee. Scripts say you fulfill all desires of devotees. I beseech you to grant my wishes and be kind to me. A devotee from Mundagon near Akot named Baijabai was the daughter of Balabai and Shivram Mali. She was married in her childhood early. Everything happens as per one's destiny. When Baijabai came of age, her father took her to his son in law's place, but it had no significance, as Baijaba's husband was not potent. Parents of Baijabai were deeply affected. Balabai, her mother, even suggested that Baijabai be married to another person. Shivram, the father, did not conquer. He said, masculinity sometimes comes late, so they decided to wait and let Baija be at her husband's place, expecting that medicines may help. Both of them returned to their village. Baija, who was 16 years of age, with her honey-toned complexion, she presented a youthful image, endowed with her beautiful eyes, a sharp nose, and a tall figure. She enjoyed the power to attract the attention of any person. Her elder brother in law was enchanted by her splendor and earnestly desired to make love to her. He tried many ways of persuasion, even a promise to treat her as his wife. His attempts to seduce her were wasted. Burdened by his torture, she prayed, O God, why am I subject to such conflict when I have worshipped you from my childhood? My devotion got me no fruit. The person I married has no manhood. I know my fate in a way it is great. Now I can entirely concentrate and devote myself to your feet. Now my only request is that no other man touches me. One night her brother in law came to her to let her know of his evil intentions. Baija turned down his overtures by calling him a shameless creature. She reminded him that a husband's elder brother has a relationship as good as a father. His behavior thus should be as worthy as a father. But ignoring her remarks, he tried to grab her in his arms. Suddenly, he heard a thudding sound of his elder son falling to the ground. He fell from the first floor to the base, causing a great wound on his forehead. Baija picked up the child in her lap and dressed his wound with a medical wrap. Baija told her brother in law to learn a lesson and not to covet other women with passion. Looking at the condition of his son, he regretted his shabby action and did not bother Baija thereafter. Shivram took her back to Mundagon. Her mother suggested that they go to Shegon and ask Gajanan the future of her daughter. So they all went to Shegon. Prostrating before Maharaj, the parents requested the saint to bless Baija to have an infant. Maharaj smiled and replied, She is not destined to have a child. All men in the world are like father to her. Better forget she is married anymore. Shivram was sorry to hear this from Maharaj. Soon They all returned to Mundagon. Baija was happy to know of what was in store for her. With this visit, she became the saint's resolute follower. Baija started visiting Shegon with Pundalik, a disciple from Mundagon. Her parents did not object to these trips. They hoped this may bring back her marital bliss. They cherished a faint hope in their minds that Baija's man would become potent by the blessings. But her visits to Shegon with Pundalik germinated doubts in the minds of the public. People even started spreading rumors that, under the garb of religious excursions, Baija and Pundalik were enjoying physical satisfaction. They openly pointed out the caste diversity. Pundalik was Maratha and Baija was of Mali community. A great hue and cry was raised to break their attachment, but both of them were pure at heart. Balabai scolded Baija for this association, saying that young men and women come together for nothing else but physical satisfaction. She even advised Shivram to get her a husband from their clan. Balabai took Baija to Gajanan Maharaj to find out the reason for the association. She believed that saints knew everything, and when asked, they would tell. Maharaj was like sandalwood, which will never emit a bad smell. Pundalik, Baija, Balabai, and Shivram, they all went together to Shegon. Maharaj looked at Pundalik and said with a smile, Pundalik, Baija was your younger sister in your previous life. Don't deny her affection, even if it attracts public condemnation. You both together worship God. Balabai, you should not abstract that. She is the sister of Pundalik, not his wife. She is not destined to have a husband this life. She will ever remain a maid like Janabai of Pandarpur, who got Namdev as her guru. Like that, Baija is one among the few. She has surrendered to me. From now on, she is my Janabai. Hearing these words, Shimram was overwhelmed. He could not speak a word after all that was said. Next day, they returned to Mundagon with Baija. No one thereafter objected to her visits to Shegon. Every time Pundalik was her escort. No one ever bothered about that. The saint's kindness, abundant, stopped the criticism around. Here is a tale how Maharaj always protects his devotees from dreadful spells. Dr. Bahu Rajaram Kavar was in charge of Kamgon Hospital. He got a nasty boil on his body. Eminent doctors were brought from Amaravati, Akola, and Buldana cities to treat this discomforting malady. All efforts with medicines, even surgery, failed to bring relief to the state. Bahu was restless lying in the bed due to unbearable pain. His elder brother was concerned over Bahu's discomfort. There was no alternative left at all except remembering Sri Gajanan Maharaj. Thinking so, they folded their hands and prayed to Sri Gajanan Maharaj to come to his rescue and cure him of the pain. It was midnight and pitch darkness covered the sky, with foxes howling nearby, when a hooded cart drawn by two bullocks came to the doctor's door by luck. A Brahmin from the cart came and knocked at the door. The elder brother opened it, asking the purpose of the stopover. The Brahmin said he was Gaja and he came from Shegon. He said he has brought Tirtha and Angara for Bahu Kavar. He advised to apply Angara to the boil and let Bahu sip the Tirtha a while. He left the things with the brother and went away, saying that he had no time to stay. Hearing this, Bahu sent a man to call back the person. He could not be traced nor the bullock cart. They could not be found as they disappeared fast. Bahu applied Angara to the boil. which immediately burst, throwing out the infection. The fluid oozed out within an hour, bringing sound sleep to Bahu Rajaram Kavar. Subsequently, he was completely cured and went to Shegon to see the seer. Smiling at Bahu, Maharaj said, "Look up. That night you did not even give grass to my bullocks." Bahu understood that the visitor that night was Maharaj. As a token of his gratitude, he fed the people of Shegon. Once Maharaj left for Pandarpur to visit God Vittal on the banks of Chandrabhaga river. Many devotees accompanied him. Special trains for Pandarpur were scheduled. This was for a comfortable travel of the crowd. The occasion was Ashadi Ekadasi. First stop on the journey was at Nagsari. Jahuaba, Patel, Bapuna Kale, and many more were with Maharaj on this tour. There is an underground cave at Nagsari where springs of natural water flow freely, yielding a name to the place as Nagsari. The great saint Gomaji Maharaj had attained communion with God at this venerable spot. He was the first guru of Mahadaji Patel, who got blessings of this divinity for welfare and prosperity of the Patel dynasty. That is why the Patels of Shegon visit Nagsari before they move on. They pay respects to Gomaji before they proceed by train as Varkari to the holy city of Pandarpur. With Maharaj on this tour were Bapuna and 50 others. It was the ninth day of Ashad in the waxing moon, and thousands of devotees started reaching Pandarpur under a cloudy sky, drizzling but with no downpour. Pandarpur appeared like heaven on earth, with a sea of humanity in its girth. Every inch of space meant for going round the temple was jammed with Varkaris, chanting Jai Jai Ramakrishna Hari. The entire atmosphere was charged with devotion when palanquins of various saints came in procession. They were of Nath, Nivruti, Dhyaneshwar, and Janardhan. Also were there Savata, Gaurakumbar, Sopan, Muktabai, and Sri Tukaram Dehukar. Devotees threw up bukha in the air to offer respects to them at the festival. The sky was filled with bukha powder, spreading its fragrance all over. They threw tulasi leaves and flowers on the palanquins in that festive atmosphere. When Maharaj reached Pandapur, he stayed at Kukaji Patel's house, which stands on the Pradakshina route. A huge crowd gathered around the temple, with police force protecting law and order. On the day of the festival, with Hari Patel, all Shegon people except Bapuna went to the temple. Bapuna was taking bath and thus was held aback. When his bath was over, he learned that everyone had gone to the temple. He hurried to join them there with the crowd around. He could not reach anywhere near. Helplessly, he offered God a prayer. "O Vittal, Rishikesh, why are you displeased with me? Why don't you allow me to enjoy your blessing? You went to Aran to give darshan to Savatamali. Panduranga, come from the temple to meet me. Aran was 16 miles away. I am just at your gate. People call you helper of the helpless. Then why are you ignoring me?" Thus he prayed and at last, disappointed, returned to Kukaji's establishment. He had no food, and the despondent mood made him look pale and sunken. So intense was his desire to see Vittal that his mind hovered over the temple. People jeered at him, calling him the unfortunate example. They teased him, saying, "You came here to visit the stalls and not see the idol." Some said he was a hypocrite, not an unfortunate at all. Others taunted that he knew Vedant well and needed not to visit the temple. For Vedantis, God is in their hearts, not idols. They believed that only fools go to the temple. People ridiculed him, saying, "His God for him stands on the street. Then why did he come here at all? He should have called Vittal to Shagon." These Vedantis advise others without a fragment of experience. They preach without practice. They do not understand that self realization is possible only by worshipping the visible. How can one attain adulthood without experiencing childhood? Bapuna received such criticism. No one protected him from this sarcasm. He sat quiet without taking any food. Maharaj, watching the events, and understood his mood. Saints recognize the plight of the unfortunate. Lucky are those who get a chance to be near. Maharaj said, "Bapuna, don't worry. I will just now show you. Rukmini Raman Pandurang Hari." Saying so, Maharaj stood up and positioned his feet like Vittal, with hands on the waist like the idol. Bapuna saw him in this form, with garlands of tulasi and flowers around his neck. Bapuna prostrated himself in front of this image. When he looked up, it was Maharaj again. He was happy at this darshan of the deity. When he went to the temple, subsequently, he saw the same idol in that position, as was shown by Maharaj in Kukaji's residence. When people came to know of this incident, they requested Maharaj to bless them with the same darshan. Maharaj replied, "Like Bapuna, mold your mind. The darshan is not an ordinary kind, like a commodity at the marketplace. It requires an attitude of pious bend, just as seen in Bapuna's case, to get a darshan of such a consequence." Maharaj revealed Vithoba to Bapuna because he was a real saint. There is no difference between a saint and God. It is like sugar and the sweet taste. One cannot be separated from the other. After sharing prasad, they returned to Shegon. With the blessings of Vithoba, Bapuna got a son who grew up to be an intelligent person. Services to saints never go waste. Bapuna's son was named as Namadiyo, as he came with the blessings of Vithoba Dev. A devotee from Kavate Bahadur of Vidarbha had also lodged himself at Kukaji's Vada. On the next day of the Ekadasi fair, cholera gripped Pandarpur with a flare. Thousands of people were dying there. The police authorities asked people to leave the sacred town. Doctors, too, said they should move out soon. The authority even drove them out as a precaution. The villager of Kavate Bahadur caught the infection. He suffered from vomiting and loose motions. His vigor was lost and he became weak. No one gave him any medicine, nor did they inform doctors for fear of police. Everyone left, abandoning him to the fate of death. When you flourish, people are your friends. Adversity brings dire desertion. This always has been the general equation. God and saints come to help in such a situation. Looking to the devotee lying helpless, Maharaj asked people to take him with them. "He is nearly dead," they said. "We too will face difficulty. In our entourage, we are 50. Cholera is spreading like wildfire in the city. Under the circumstances, we leave for our own safety. We cannot stay here even for a day. Let us leave this place immediately." Maharaj said, "It is foolish of the tour band to abandon a sick brother from your land." He went out and caught the hand of the devotee, helped him to sit up, and said with certainty, "Come with me, to Vidarbha we go." The devotee moaned, "I cannot even move. I am on deathbed with no relations now." Maharaj assured, "Don't get scared. The danger to your life is now over." Saying so, he put his hand on the devotee's head. His symptoms vanished with that touch. He felt strong and stood up. How can death take away a person when he is in the shadow of the saint's protection? He recovered with an hour. and joined these people on the return too. Rescued from fear of death and all that pain, he prostrated before Maharaj again and again. The devotee from Kavate Bahadur remarked, Swamiji, you brought me back. I was in the jaws of death. He cheered to the glory of the saint again. All devotees in Pandarpur, entourage with Sri Gajanan Maharaj, returned safe to the town of Shegon. They had Saint Gajanan as their escort. An Orthodox Brahmin once came to Shegon for the darshan of Sri Gajanan Maharaj. He heard of the greatness of the saint and arrived there from a far off place. Being a very orthodox person, he did not tolerate being touched by anyone. After looking at Maharaj, he regretted to have come all the way to see this saint. He branded Maharaj as a crazy person, behaving contrary to established traditions. He did not appreciate people worshipping such a deviation. He saw a dog lying dead on the way to the well and did not go further, muttering to himself, No one removes the dead dog from here. They are all ganja smokers. I am a fool to have travelled here. Maharaj heard this, and to the Brahmin he said, Don't harbor any doubts. The dog is not dead. Go, perform your worship as you desire. The Brahmin retorted, I am not crazy like you, sir. The dog is dead, lying here for an hour. No one removed it. No one cares. Maharaj said, We are ignorant and spoiled. We don't possess wisdom so bright. Follow me to the well with your pitcher. With his feet, he touched the dog lying there. It stood up and took it to its heels. The Brahmin was spellbound indeed. He fell prostrate to Maharaj's feet and begged pardon for his misdeeds. He served food to the devotees that day. After taking prasad, he went away. We hope this treatise will bring happiness to all devotees. Jai Gajanan. End of chapter 18.